How to read ukulele tabs. Notes and techniques with tips. Tablature, or tab for short, is a form of musical notation indicating fretboard positions rather than musical pitches. The 4 lines of a ukulele tab represent the 4 strings of the ukulele. But be careful because they're upside down. Tip number 1. Tabs are common for most fretted stringed instruments like the guitar, bass, ukulele, and more, although the amount of strings and lines will vary. In order to avoid any misunderstanding, let's go through the ukulele string names. So starting from the top, the names of the strings for the most common tuning are G, C, E, and A. Tip number 2. The strings are numbered from bottom to top, so A is string number 1, E string number 2, C is string number 3, and G is string number 4. In a tab, the top line corresponds to the bottom string, meaning closer to the floor, which is the A string. Similarly, the bottom line corresponds to the top string, closer to the ceiling, which is the G string. Tip number 3. For most instruments, the top line represents the highest string in pitch, and the bottom line represents the lowest string in pitch. Ukulele is an exception as the G string is the second highest string. A number located through the lines indicates the fret that needs to be pressed on that string. So, in this example, the 3rd fret on the E string needs to be pressed down. If this number is 0, it's an open string that needs to be strummed. An open string is when it's not fretted at all, like so. Tip number 4. Strum only the strings that have a number. If you need to strum more strings, this will be indicated with additional numbers on the rest of the strings. Let's try this example. First, strum the open C string, then the 3rd fret on the E string, then the 2nd fret on the A string, and lastly, the 5th fret on the A string. Let's do it backwards too. Now let's try this simple scale. Start by playing the 1 C string, followed by the 2nd fret on the same string. Continue with the open E string, followed by the 1st fret and then the 3rd fret on the same string. Lastly, play the open A string, followed by the 2nd fret and then the 3rd fret on the same string. Let's do it backwards too. Tip number 5. The dots located on the fretboard and on the top of the neck next to the G string are there to help you get to a higher fret faster without having to count the number of frets. Usually on ukuleles, you'll find the dots for the 5th, the 7th, and the 10th and the 12th fret. Additional dots can be found on larger ukuleles. Lastly, let's try a chord. This is an F chord. You need to press the 1st fret on the E string, the 2nd fret on the G string, and leave the rest of the strings open. Strum all the strings to play what is written on the tab. Thoughts. In comparison to the traditional musical notation, tab is much more straightforward to read, but it lacks an important element, which is the note duration and rhythm. In order to use tab, you need to know the rhythm of the tune that you're going to perform. However, there are some alternatives that include rhythm, such as the following. Before continuing, it will be helpful to clarify the numbering used for the fingers of the fretting hand. Number 1 is your index finger, number 2 is your middle finger, number 3 is your ring finger, and number 4 is your pinky.